What if, in just one moment, your entire life could be flipped upside down because someone pointed a finger and accused you of something you didn't do? Picture this. You're just a kid, standing in a courtroom, charged with a crime, while everyone stares at you as if you're already guilty. Now, imagine the person accusing you is a police officer, someone you're supposed to trust. This is the story of a young boy who refused to back down and fought to prove the truth when no one else believed him. But what happened in that courtroom will leave you speechless. It all began on a quiet evening in a small suburban neighborhood. A police officer was heading home, exhausted after his shift, when he passed a row of houses. Suddenly, a rock struck his patrol car's windshield, shattering it. Furious, he slammed on the brakes, jumped out, and scanned the area. Standing nearby was a 13-year-old boy, playing outside and kicking a soccer ball with his friends. Without hesitation, the officer stormed toward the boy, his face red with anger. The boy froze, stunned by the sudden accusation. "No, sir. I didn't do anything," he stammered, but the officer refused to listen. "Don't lie to me," he shouted, grabbing the boy's arm. "I saw you. You're coming with me." The boy's parents rushed out of the house, pleading with the officer to listen. He was just playing soccer, his mother cried, tears streaming down her face. He would never do something like this. But the officer didn't care. He called for backup and arrested the boy right then and there. Days later, the boy stood in a crowded courtroom, his heart racing as the trial began. The officer sat confidently on the witness stand, pointing his finger at the boy and recounting his version of events. "Your Honor," the officer said, "I saw him throw the rock with my own eyes." The boy's parents sat behind him, holding hands tightly, their faces pale with worry. They believed in their son, but who would believe them over a police officer? Then, something incredible happened. The boy stood up, his hands trembling as he addressed the stern judge, known for his no-nonsense demeanor. "Your Honor," he said, his voice steady despite the pressure, "I didn't throw the rock. I have proof." The courtroom fell silent. The boy reached into his folder and pulled out a single sheet of paper. It was a screenshot from a nearby house's CCTV camera, taken at the exact moment the rock was thrown. The grainy black and white footage clearly showed someone else, a teenager on a bike, throwing the rock at the car before quickly riding away. The evidence was undeniable. The judge carefully examined the paper, his eyebrows furrowing as he pieced together what had really happened. Slowly, he looked up at the officer, who had gone pale. "Officer," the judge said coldly, "how do you explain this?" The officer stammered, but no words came out. He had no explanation. The truth had come to light, and it hit the courtroom like a thunderclap. The boy had been telling the truth all along. Tears streamed down his mother's face as she hugged her son. His father held them both tightly, whispering, "You did it, son. You stood up for yourself." But the story didn't end there. The officer wasn't just embarrassed. He was held accountable. The judge ruled that his false accusation and reckless actions had caused unnecessary trauma to the boy and his family. The officer was charged with misconduct, and the boy's family filed a $10 million lawsuit for defamation and emotional distress. That boy didn't just defend himself. He showed everyone the power of truth and bravery. He stood tall when the odds were stacked against him, when it seemed like no one would believe him. The lesson: justice isn't about power or position, it's about the truth. How many others have been falsely accused, their voices drowned out because they didn't have the courage or resources to stand up? What kind of world do we live in if we don't demand justice and accountability from those in power? The next time you hear someone being accused, ask yourself, are we too quick to judge, or are we brave enough to seek the truth? What do you think? If you've watched this far, comment where you're watching from and leave a 100 in the comment section. because you're the type of person who likes to finish what they started.